Welcome, everybody, to Good Morning Cannabis. And I have my friend, the lovely Ann Davis, Esquire, who is going to be part of the interview process today. And Ann has a really interesting story and is going to speak to us about a topic I know everyone is interested in hearing about. So, Ann, a little bit about yourself, your background, how you got into cannabis, and we'll go right into what the problem is facing a lot of folks and what's some potential solutions for that problem.
All
So,
right.
yeah.
All right. So I'll try my best to be brief about it. So I'm an attorney since 2000, and back in 2008, I got really involved in cannabis law and policy with Normal. I had done a bunch of different areas of law. One of them was family, and it would often come up when people were consuming cannabis in divorce and custody cases, and it was appalling. And we know it's a plant, and it shouldn't be. You shouldn't. Eh, be jeopardizing time with your children because you smoke a joint on the weekends. But that was reality, right? So I joined Normal and became part of their national legal committee. And then I became the executive director of Normal, New Jersey. And then I started speaking at engagements literally all over California, Colorado, before it was what it is today. Um, and somewhere along the line, I started doing for the Bar Association when New Jersey finally got our law in 2010.
Yeah.
And then it was the Hospital Association and on from there. Somewhere along the line in 2013, I myself get diagnosed with MS.
Oh, boy.
So now I have years of knowledge in the industry and I know how well it's working for patients. So I was told to go on, they call them DMTs, disease modifying therapies, pharmaceuticals basically, but they wanted to monitor my heart, my kidneys, my liver every 30 days. And initially I agreed to go on the meds. And then I said, well, wait a minute, there's nothing wrong with my heart, my kidneys, and my liver. So hold on. And I decided to forego pharmaceutical drugs and strictly use cannabis. So now when I was doing my presentations for these various professional associations, I would always end my presentation with a few things: ancillary opportunities in the industry, whether you were an accountant, a pharmacist, a doctor, you were a producer of jars, labeling manufacturer, security, whatever you were, there was opportunity because we all knew that capitalism was going to get us where we are today, right? So I would always end with that. And then lastly, what I think the future looks like and what we need, and that was health insurance coverage. In the audience that day, one of the attendees, this was for the Bar Association, was Don Parisi, who had worked in healthcare and insurance. Ryder Insurance was his last company that he'd been with. And I was talking about how group health insurance should be covering it because when they wanted to put me on Copaxone, it was going to cost $3,000 a month. And at that seminar in 2018, the numbers were, I saved my health insurance company $300,000 just on the pharmaceutical medication. So now I'm one person. I save them 300,000. Take 10 of me, that's 3 million. Take 100 of me. Like, these are real numbers that the insurance companies need to hear to get us to group health. And that was assuming nothing happened to my heart, my kidneys, and my liver, right? Because then the expense is going to be way, way higher. So with that, Don and I met, and since then have been trying to formulate solutions to see that happen, because it's very costly in the state of New Jersey. It's still close to 400 an ounce going through the dispensaries as a patient, even though we now finally, as of July, phased out tax for patients. It's still very costly. So, that's always been a dream of mine, to see health insurance coverage. So that was the problem.
That's the problem. Health insurance doesn't cover cannabis.
Yet.
That's the secret, is the yet. So tell us about the yet.
So I meet Don Parisi and start researching, and he goes down to a conference and starts talking to other people in the insurance world, and he's getting pretty good reception. So we then formed Bennabis Health and brought in Lisa Gora, who you've met, and a few other brilliant minds. And we have 3 platforms right now. We're not at group health insurance coverage, though we are in discussions. We had a brokers forum about maybe 9 months ago. We invited a lot of insurance brokers to come and talk, like, what are the needs, what are the wants, what are the obstacles, hurdles, and how do we get there together? So that's all in progress right now.
Awesome.
And so we got the former U.S. Surgeon General, Dr. Ken Moritsugu, he's on our board,
Awesome.
and John Agos, who was with the American Diabetes Association. And the American Diabetes Association, when insulin became very costly for diabetic patients, they came up with a membership plan for people that didn't have insurance. So that is the first launch by Bennabis Health, is a membership plan where we negotiate discounts with participating dispensaries. So Bennabis Health members can go, similar to like AAA, you pay your annual membership fee and you can go to a participating dispensary and get discounted product, all while the other platforms are in progress. We will have group health insurance. We will.
I believe it. So is this just New Jersey centric, or are you rolling this out to all the legal states?
All the legal states, but as you know, the regulatory climate differs from state to state to state, even sister states like New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. So we have to kind of navigate the regulatory climate the same way the MSOs do. You know, they operate a little differently in Connecticut than they do in Maryland. And so we had to kind of overcome that. But that is the plan, national, yeah.
And if someone wanted to find out more information about this, is there a way for them to tap into that? Do you have a website, or is there a white
Definitely.
paper? We'll put it
Bennabis
in the,
Health,
okay.
bennabishealth.com. There is a website with all of the information available. We also have wonderful education programs, because we've found, as this was, building more momentum, that there are so many consumers out there now that would benefit from cannabis that aren't using it, especially in the 50+ population,
Sure.
people with arthritis or depression, or just, how
Yeah,
many.
I know.
Mm-hmm. And what was happening was a lot of people were going on the internet and they were doing searches, but there's overload of information and you don't know what is reliable and what isn't reliable. So now, under the direction of former U.S. Surgeon General, with our nurses on staff, and we have Melissa Bouchard, who an amazing cannabis nurse, that she came from the industry and she had so much knowledge. And she went to nursing school so that she had the credentials to back up the vast amount of knowledge that she's been in the industry far longer than I, and put it all together to roll out programs for patients that are maybe curious. It might work for my condition, but I don't know enough, or they're ready to try it, but they don't know how and what to do about it. And then the experienced user, there's some more information for them as well.
And this is really exciting. This sounds like a big breakthrough for many people who really need the plant and who can't afford it. And it seems horrible that it's not covered by insurance. I mean, it's.
Yeah. And a lot of the people that need it are on disability, or they're limited in working. So they're not, they're struggling financially, and it helps, and it helps so much. And I've talked to so many people, even patients that have MS, as I do, that some of them still take the underlying DMTs, as we call them, to stop the progression of MS. But then there's the symptoms, the spasticity that you get, and they use cannabis as a supplement in lieu of muscle relaxers and more pharmaceutical drugs. So, yeah, it's been going so great and building so quickly, actually.
Well, that's all good news. So you gave me the website. That's also going to be in the show notes. But the question I always ask on the show is, so what's the craziest thing that ever happened to Ann Davis, Esquire?
Okay, so we'll go with my cleanest crazy one.
We can keep it different one if you want. The next show.
I guess it was in I'm pretty sure it was in 2018, actually. So one of my friends, her brother is the personal assistant for Keith Richards, and he's been touring with him 20 years. Wow. And she said, I haven't seen him in so long, and they're going to be in Europe, and I want to go to Paris and I want to see him, and I really need a travel partner. So I said, I'll go.
Why not?
Yeah. So, it was the end of the tour in Europe, and they had this big party on the Seine River, this massive private boat, and it was all the Rolling Stones and their road crew, and it was total private party. And I got to hang out, like we had like a whole 20 minutes. It was my girlfriend who invited me, Keith Richards and me on the Seine River on this
Wow.
boat, the Eiffel Tower in the
Okay.
background. Yeah, and inside I got to dance with Charlie Watts. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, it
Okay.
was really, and it was just like, even we stayed at the Four Seasons, and you like
Sure.
being escorted out, and they had people barricaded, and we got to walk
Oh,
through,
that's so fun. That's so fun. Yeah.
it was definitely a once in a lifetime for me, for
Well,
sure.
being a Rolling Stones fan myself, I'm a little envious, but well, we'll have to come up with the next story next time we meet because I'm going to have you back and hopefully with Lisa to go into a little bit more depth
I
as
would
to
love that.
progressing. This is kind of just an overview, but again, problem people don't have money to pay for cannabis. It can be a very expensive plant. $400 an ounce is not unheard of. And you're coming up with a solution so that people have access to what they need, the medicine they need, rather than opioids and all the other garbage that the pharmaceutical
Exactly.
companies try to push on us. So that's all good things. And I'm going to say goodbye, but this is not a final goodbye. But thank you so much. Enjoyed having you on the show. And so just saying goodbye to everyone in the audience and good morning, cannabis. And we'll see you again soon. And take care.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure.